The views and opinions expressed on any program are those of the producers and/or the persons appearing on the program and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of FRC Media, Bristol Community College, or the City of Fall River.
Well, hello. Welcome to Spindle City Straight Talk. I'm Chip.
And I'm CJ.
And it is Friday in the River. And before we begin, I think we should make note of the fact that day before yesterday, 9 members of the 101st Airborne Division were killed when 2 helicopters collided during a training exercise. It's a stark reminder of that our military is there 24 hours a day. They're training. It's a necessary part, unfortunately, of being in the military. You have to train, and you have to train to be deployed. And the 101st Airborne is one of the tips of the spear. The airborne units are always activated first, the 82nd, 101st Airborne. So nine members of 101st were killed in a training accident. It's horribly unfortunate, but it happens all the time. We see fighter planes crashing. We see, I think there was a Marine issue a while back that one of their Black Hawks crashed. And when I was in my youth, I was sitting on a runway at Pope Air Force Base at Fort Bragg. We were getting ready to jump, and the 82nd was jumping ahead of us. And actually, I think they had a Air Force Reserve pilot. Somebody read their altimeter wrong, and the 82nd's a division. They jump a whole bunch of planes in a V formation, and somebody flew through the jumpers and chopped up 8 jumpers with their propellers. But of course, in those days, those things didn't make the news. Today, we have a 24-hour news cycle, and everybody hears about everything. We found out about it after we jumped, and you know, training exercises unfortunately happen all the time, but we always remember that, you know, our armed forces, all those people in uniform, the men and women in uniform, they're in harm's way even when they're here. This is why people say, well, you know, they weren't there. I don't care. You know, you're in harm's way. You can be activated, sent into any area you want. You write a check, cashable for your life when you join the military. This is why it disturbs me so much when we see all this politicization of veterans organizations and things, because we should support our VA. Veterans should not have to be begging for post-service care, and we should not have veterans organizazations that can barely exist. So I just had to get that in because obviously I have a bond with the 101st, being a former paratrooper. So I understand the airborne units and the necessity to do this stuff in most of the combat units. So these people are in harm's way even when they're here because they have to daily train because their mission is to fight.
I agree. There's no question about it. And, you know, I think that our active duty military and our veterans don't get enough credit because, as you said, they write a check that sometimes...
Yep. When they put their hand up and swear to uphold the Constitution and protect us against enemies, foreign and domestic, that's basically a blank check that's cashable up to your own life.
Exactly.
And so many of them have given their lives. So it's something that people only remember. See, those are the people that really, it bothers me. You only remember that on days when there are parades.
Veterans Day, Memorial Day.
Yeah, when there are parades. But remember, every single day, there's somebody out there putting their life on the line for this country, and you should not only appreciate it, you should celebrate that.
And with times being the way they are right now politically, and I mean, you've got Russia, you've got Iran now, which is on the verge of a nuclear warhead. I mean, can you see Iran with a nuclear warhead? I mean,
Yeah, it's insane. And look, I saw somebody last night on television predicting that we would be at war by 2025.
yep.
Within 2 years, we'll be at war with China and Russia. They're also devaluing the American dollar because Brazil, Russia, and China have made agreements to purchase things, and they're using their own currency, not the American dollar. So that's another way they attack America, because they are going to, you know, we're being eviscerated as an economic power. But what do our politicians do? They worry about segueing pay raises.
That's it. Pay raises.
Because they want a pay raise.
That's right.
We haven't had a pay raise since 2010.
Well, you know, and you know, the thing is the only school committee member that wants this is Kevin Aguia.
Jeez.
Okay? I mean, is Kevin Aguia so hard up for cash that he needs a pay raise? And not only did the city council put it through for the pay raise, they put it through for a pay raise for themselves.
Of course. But who spearheaded that pay raise? One of his pals.
That's right. That was Sean Kadim and
his best friend.
Sean Kadim and Kevin Aguia, right?
His best friend.
Right.
There was even rumors that Kadim was going to, if they get this pay raise, he's switching over to the council to be with his pal.
It's a possibility that he switches over.
But listen, you hit it right on the head. They're going to give themselves pay raises, and let me see if I can read.
123%
yeah, you know,
pay raise.
I don't know where my math was off. Now Joe Good's going to make me check my math again, because I had 124%. It might have been a percentage. I forgot. When I did the calculation, when I was looking at this, it was 124%. But that's really irrelevant. 123, 120. Look. Okay.
What's a percent amongst friends?
Yeah, and listen, and here again we're going to get beat up on this position, because they're going to say you're always complaining people should get pay raise. Yeah, the average worker.
Right.
You know, people should not be making $16 an hour working at the water department, but nobody cares about them except in a political time. But this shows the hypocrisy of these politicians, because now they want this. They're going to use that to get a pay raise for all of them. We haven't had it. And listen, you can say they're right. They should be paid that way. I'm going to disagree, and I'm going to tell you why. And I don't have the quote exactly, but John Kennedy said something to the effect that when you leave politics, you'll be judged by history as whether you were a politician or a statesman.
Right.
Whether you worked for the people as a statesman or a politician. I think I've made it pretty clear in the 12 years we've been on the air that I am not a fan of career politicians.
That's right.
I don't believe that our government, by our forefathers, created to you go in and do some public service for your country, like the military people we were talking about. You serve your country, you serve your city, you serve your state, then you go back and become a private citizen, and then you can admire the good you did for the private citizen. You're there to represent the people at every level of government, including ours, where it says that by our state constitution that they are our substitutes and agents. You're there to represent the people. It's a higher calling, and it's also a part-time job. That's why congressmen don't get $16,000 or $15,000 a year. All of these people have six-figure. Kadim is making almost $200 grand, if he's not already at $200 grand. There's a guy that, when he started in politics, started working for the city of Fall River, if my memory serves me correctly, and I got a pretty damn good memory, he filed bankruptcy.
Yes.
Yes, he did.
Yep.
But once he got into working for cities and politics, give me another pay raise. It's a part-time job. There were a lot of people in Fall River who were barely making over that by going to work every day. You don't think that somebody will go and work on a school? What's the school committee get now?
Currently, they're making $7,197.
You don't think somebody would go there and show up twice a month and get $7 grand? I think so. Well, maybe they're a little low, but you don't triple, quadruple. City council, same way. And but they want to go back to the automatic pay raises,
right.
Just like the State House, because no matter what the economic condition of the city or the country is, they're going to get a pay raise. As a matter of fact, it works. It works just the opposite. It's inverse, because the worse the inflation, the higher the CPA.
That's right.
And the more they get it, and unless they capped it, and there were a few of them weren't capped. City council was capped, I believe, but the mayors. But our illustrious mayor again took this moment to politicize it, because his statement was, quote, this is a quote, somebody sent me this, so if it's off, blame the messenger. This is supposedly a quote from the article. If such a proposal passed, I would decline the raise myself, but I believe it would be appropriate for mayors in the future. Oh, how magnanimous. Oh, Paulie Parade, Paulie Pockets is gonna pass he's not gonna take the raise.
You know, the other thing...
wait a minute, 120 grand plus his pension, which is probably making close to 200, if not 200 grand. He's going to not take it maybe this year if he got elected. See, that's the con. Before you get into this, you can have this. Because I've seen this happen. This goes back decades. I've seen politicians with this con doing this forever. I'm not taking it. I'm giving it to charity. I'm going to give it to, they give it to charity for 1 year. That year.
Jazel Correa.
They give it to charity. That's Jazel. I'm giving it to charity. And what happens when you give it to charity? You get a tax deduction.
That's right.
So you get a tax deduction that year. You got a 6-figure job. You get a tax deduction, and then everybody forgets by the next year. And that raise, you did not take the raise. You didn't say, no, we're going to change it. We don't get an automatic raise. I'm not taking this raise. You're allowing this raise to go into ordinance. And it's going to be automatic. So the following year, when you're crickets, everybody remembers that you gave up the raise. But that was only for that 1 year. They all take it in the following year and run with it. And you know something? It's just my opinion, and you can disagree. You want to be a city councilor, you should want to be a city councilor to help the people of Fall River, not yourself and your friends. You don't want them, you know, some people want to be a city councilor so they can march into City Hall with their friends from Seekonk and get them a job. Because I know at least 2 people that got a job in the city of Fall River, and I'm calling it out. I'm not afraid. I know Kadeem marched 2 people in from Seekonk and got him a job. Because when somebody called me, I said, what are you talking about? He said, yeah, well, there's nothing we could do. He marched them in and got him a job. They're all in this together. And I don't care if they're anti-Coogan. When they behave like this, it shows they don't consider anything. There are people who can't pay their rent. There are people who can't buy food. There are people in deep trouble. These people, he wants a 123% raise. I got 318 retirees that are living on a $12,000 pension for the year, gross.
And they had to beg for that extra raise this year.
And we had to beg, and it was like, oh, they're giving us $20. Oh, they're giving us $40. Oh, they get $360 a year. Normally, this year they gave them $600. Whoopsie doozy, over $1 a day instead of less than $1 a day per year. I've got 318 living at 12. That's why they wouldn't let us go before the council to ask us questions. Because these hypocrites that are now looking for all this money, these phonies, they don't want you to know what the retirees get. They want you to think that you're getting 5% on their whole pension. They're not. It's capped on a $12,000 base. They didn't want me to get up in front of that microphone and remind them and the general public about the reality. I got 318 people that live on a pension of $12,000, which is the minimum. They have to get that because they were, and those people are the people that are 85 and 90 years old and have outlived their pension. The people who need it the most have the least because when they retired, they had an okay pension. But now you live 30 years after you retire, you got peanuts with this system. Okay, the retirement system sucks. The only thing that's for is for the cities to steal the money like they did between 2002
and the retirement system currently is only beneficial to people who make big bucks.
That's right.
Okay.
And who makes the big bucks?
The politicians and the department heads.
Who was the highest at one time? Who was the highest pension in the state? Billy Bolger.
Yeah.
Yeah. But all right, I got 318 living at 12,000. I got 52% of the retirees in the city of Fall River are living on less than 25,000. And I've got 63% living on less than $30,000 a year. Okay? Which is already like, you know, I mean, you look at it, you're chopping 10 grand off for inflation, and that's gross. These people, and they don't care. These people, they posture, they grandstand, they pretend they care about people. Coogan, I'm not going to take it. I'm not going to. Well, of course you're not going to take it. You're living in a Bobby townhouse. You're making 200 grand a year, and you're going to pretend that this is some magnanimous gesture like you really care. So what? Well, you might as well take it. What the hell? They want it. But this shows every one of these people should be gone. Anybody that votes for this stuff should be gone because they're putting their own, they want their part-time job to pay them better. Besides the political connections they get all their friends' jobs, they want this money too. 123% pay rate. Listen, $7,000 is not a lot of money, but I'll tell you what, to somebody making 12 grand,
it's a lot of money.
that's more than half of their pension.
That's right.
That's more than half. I'll tell you what, like, you guys don't want to do this, Kevin? I'll scare a couple of retirees and go up and sit in that chair a couple times a month to bump their pension up $7,000. How's that one? I'll make you that deal. I'll find some people that'll take that job. Just like they didn't have any problem finding people that wanted to go to the water department regardless of what they were getting paid because they knew ultimately they'd be doing just like this. And Paul, what did he say? It's a horrible look.
It's a horrible look. I don't know if there's ever a good time for these kinds of raises.
Well, you know what else is a horrible look, Paulie? $19,000 pay raises, $14,000 pay raises, creating 4 new department heads when you used to have 1. That's not wasteful. That's not a horrible look. Now I heard, speaking of that, and Kevin Aguia, I heard a rumor, and I would say this is a rumor. I have not confirmed this yet. He wants to make a deputy superintendent of schools.
I actually
yeah, well,
heard
so
that.
we're going to have a superintendent making 200 grand. We're going to have, now he's going to make, I wonder who he's got in mind for that job. But we got a deputy superintendent, and we got what, 6 assistant superintendents?
Right. And
how many? I almost said it. I'm sorry. I'm so furious, okay? I wasn't going to say the other one. Yes, I was. So I'll use furious. How many people do you need to screw in a light bulb in that school system? You got a superintendent that's supposed to be running the school system, and you're going to give her a deputy, 6 assistant schools, and we're 335th in the state of Massachusetts out of 351 states. We are not achieving any goals in that system, and all we do is give out 6-figure salaries to all their friends. All these people in November should be gone.
That's not an allegation either. That is an accurate statement.
All right, well, I haven't confirmed.
I've confirmed it.
Okay,
Kevin Aguia, and the superintendent of schools said she did not put into her budget for that position.
Oh, don't worry about that. They'll figure out where the money is.
Well, because remember, the budget hasn't been done yet.
$11 million from the buses.
That's right.
Might pay that.
Well, remember, that's coming out of the school department budget if that happens.
Go ahead, CJ. I want to hit myself in the head with a hammer.
Kevin justified it by saying that other school systems have them. So because other school systems have them, we have to have them.
Of course they do. And at other schools, how do these things begin? Other schools, some political hack who was looking to give their friend a job decided to have deans of students in middle schools, where you went to college. You went to a lot of colleges.
I went to a lot of colleges.
Yeah, you don't even have a graduate degree. You got an advanced graduate degree. You're a doctor nurse. I mean, so you've been to college. You tell me, did you ever see a dean of schools when you were in grammar school, elementary school, middle school, or high school?
I went to the Fall River Public School System when they were performing, so that tells you how long ago that was.
Yeah, well, let me tell you something. I went to the Fall River Public School too, from the James M. Aldrich on Harrison Street in Quikasham, in between Harrison and Quikasham, to Davis Grammar, my alma mater, better known as Blackboard Jungle, and then on to Durfee. And I went to college. And I never saw a dean of students till I got to college. This is always it. Well, they got it in Newton.
That's right.
Well, yeah, well, maybe actually Newton educates their kids. You don't even care where you spend your money. Because you know something? You don't care if the teachers are underpaid, if we don't have enough teachers. You're looking for jobs for your friends. Oh, they got a deputy somewhere. Well, you know what else they got? They got that, whatever that euphemism they had in Baltimore for that woman that said it was okay to graduate kids from high school who were reading at the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th grade level, and 50% of them were reading below the 8th grade level, and it would traumatize them if they couldn't get a high school diploma, even though they were functional illiterates. This is where our educational system has gone. And you know why? There is no emphasis on merit, on achievement. If we were in the top 10%, 15%, you could say, well, they're achieving something. Will this help the system? Our system is broken. It's pretty obvious we don't know how to educate our kids. And the answer to that is not creating more administrators. The superintendent of schools is getting over $200 grand. How many damn assistants do they need? Oh, I don't care. I'm a school committee member, but I really don't care. I didn't know that until Nelson went up there and read them the stat that, by the way, the superintendent agreed with and said throwing money, if I remember correctly, throwing money at the problem
won't solve it.
Will not solve it. Another deputy, well, maybe we can have a deputy, then maybe we can have a chief, and then a lieutenant and a captain superintendent of schools. Maybe we can give them ranks like in the military, the fire department, or something like that. And maybe we can have a whole bunch of them, because that's their con. The more administrators we hire, the better our education will be. Well, I guess what? We have proven that's not true. When I went to school, we had a principal and a vice principal at Durfee. We had one superintendent, Nagel.
Yeah. Nagel was the superintendent for a long time.
Very long time.
Yeah.
Nagel was a superintendent, and I remember getting thrown out of Durfee because I wore a boat shirt. I was walking on the hallway, and the principal was there, and he looked at me and goes, that shirt's not, you can't wear those shirts. I said, well, it's the only shirt I got. I'm here. Get out of here. Go home. But, those are the days where you actually had to achieve something. And this is absurd. I'm sorry. Look, 7,000, I'd say, okay, maybe they should get a little bit more. But like I said, it's all in the eyes of the beholder. And you can totally disagree and vehemently disagree with me and say, these people are working for the children. Well, they're not working very well Because when you're 335th out of 351 towns, you're not doing your damn job.
Nope.
And you're not focusing on education. You're focusing on giving your friends jobs. And frankly, I'm sick and tired of it. That's why we got to, November, please, people, run for, I don't care who you are. If you're running for school committee and you're not an incumbent, you got my vote.
That's it.
And if you're running for city council and your name isn't Michelle Dion, you got my vote.
Unless you're an incumbent.
Yeah, no, I'm saying if you're
Yeah.
running for school and your name isn't Michelle, yeah, because that's the only city councilor who I would cast a ballot for because she's earned it.
Well, you know, and the worst part about it was Kevin justified this pay raise by saying that they do as much as the city council. Now, I'm not saying that the school committee doesn't do a lot of work on the school department budget, but that's one department. That's one department. Yeah. The city council has to do the work on the budget for the entire city, including the school department budget.
Yeah, including.
Including the school department budget.
Yeah. And the school department has a lot more help, remember.
That's right.
They got a treasurer for just their department.
That's right.
Where the treasurer in the city, you think they should get the same pay. They probably do. Maybe the school department guy gets more. But the reality is, he's only going to deal with the school department.
That's right.
They've got to deal with the school department and the entire rest of every department and every employee in the city of Fall River. Do not compare the two.
Right.
Because it's apples and kumquats. It's not even apples and oranges. And I don't even know what a kumquat is, but I don't care.
It's a mini orange. Oh, God. I'm telling you, we can't write this stuff. We really can't.
You wonder why this city is failing?
That's why.
Because this is the attitude.
Yeah, this is the attitude. This is it. 123% pay increase. Hey, you know what? The hell with it. If we're going to give 123% pay increase to the school committee, let's give 123% pay increase to the city council. Let's let them make $32,000 a year.
Better than that, I'm always a labor guy. Let's give 123% increase to everybody at DCM, everybody in the water department.
Right, let's do it.
Everybody else, the firefighters.
Right.
The police already got a big raise, so we'll have to only give them maybe 90% pay
That's right.
raise. So let's just give everybody that and just say, okay, now Paul can say, I'm not only going to forego the pay raise, I'm just going to go to Boston and put us in receivership.
That's right. I mean, this is where we're at. This is the point that we're at in this. And I don't care about Paul saying we're in good financial condition, because he keeps saying that.
And that's
we're
a
only
giant
in
lie.
we're only in good financial position because of the ARPA money. And we are the only city, by the way, according to my research so far, that has done nothing for the taxpayer.
Yeah, and we will have to get into this Monday because we're going to spend a lot of time on Mitchell's and his comprehensive plan for Port of Housing. But just an aside, remember, you heard it here first. There is an allegation, and I will preface this by saying it's an allegation, and I heard it from a fairly reliable source. Remember that pay raise for the police department?
You mean the one that we said's unsustainable?
They're unsustainable, and they said, oh, we're working on it. That's not funding it. And they illegally voted for it. I heard that they've now realized that they're at least $3 million underfunded with their projections.
Imagine that.
But we won't hear that till after election time.
Oh, no, we're going to hear about that beforehand, because we're going to make sure we hear about it.
Absolutely.
We're going to make sure we hear about it, because we need to hear about it. And you need to be sure that you hear about it. You need to stay on top of your politicians so that you get this information, because you're entitled to it. Although they tried to hide it, you're entitled to this information, and you're entitled to it regularly. So be sure that you hold your politicians accountable for it. I want to thank you all for watching, and remember, stay safe, stay angry, and hold your politicians accountable. We'll see you on Monday. Have a great weekend.